Welcome back. All right, so I want to talk about the Ottawa Senators today. The hype is real, and the hype I think is justified. The one thing I do wonder with the Ottawa Senators, the one concern I have is this is a very young roster. And so when you've got a young team like this, and there are a couple of veterans who've been brought in to try to keep things steady, but it can be tough. You can have really dramatic highs and lows when you're dealing with a lot of young players. So that inexperience can come back to haunt you a little bit here and there. But the hype, I think, is for real. Now, the Ottawa Senators, their season ticket sales are up this year, rumored to be less than 5,000 season ticket holders last year. They struggled to draw 9,000 fans, even when they were allowed full attendance. That building was pretty empty looking. The other good news is the building needs to be replaced, and it looks like the momentum is leaning towards that happening. That LeBreton Flats, that is the area where the arena should be going up. And it sounds like, in this case, Eugene Melnick's daughters are doing a very good job, that they know what they're doing. They're getting all the support they need from the league, including from Gary Bettman. And this has been a smoother transition than maybe was expected. The one thing is, Eugene Melnick put all of this in place, this infrastructure there to keep the team running in the event that his passing would take place. So really, the Ottawa Senators, it's been a continuation. It's been great. There's no talk right now of selling the team. And of course, if you sell the team, there's all the uncertainty that comes with that, especially a team that needs a new building, right? So you don't need that kind of uncertainty. The young talent at every position, I think, is a big part of the reason for the enthusiasm. Plus, they're a team that's spending money. They're actually a team that's going to the cap, which was the expectation coming into this season. And they won 5 of their last 6 to close out the season. For 2 straight years, Ottawa has finished the season very strongly. They need to be able to start the season the same way. And now they have a very talented young team that may very well be able to do so. So, your depth chart here, using cap friendly for a lot of this, because I don't know who's going to play on what line. You got a lot of new guys, you got a lot of young guys, so that leads to a lot of experimentation when it comes to training camp and into the preseason about who should be playing with who. So down the left side, you'd have Tkachuk, you'd have DeBrincat, you'd have Formanton as your top 3. That's solid. That's 3 scoring wingers right there. And then down the middle, you've got Norris, Stützle, and Shane Pinto. Now, Pinto, of course, they're hoping he's returned to full health this year. If they can get Pinto to play 70-plus games, this has the foundation of 3 scoring lines. And then on the right side, you have Giroux, Batherson, and Joseph, keeping in mind that Giroux can play down the middle. Everybody with an asterisk is age 25 or under. It's a remarkable time to be a Sens fan. He's a very young team. Even Matthew Joseph, who it feels like has been around the league for, 25 years of age. So, for Ottawa, it's about trying to keep this team together. Recent contracts that have been signed show that they're committed to this young core and making it work, and you just never know. You never know whether that young core is going to get you over the top or not, right? And then depth-wise, you'd have Kelly, Sokolov, Reinhart, Gregg. Ridley Gregg, of course, could make this team, but he doesn't really need to. They're in this interesting position where Parker Kelly, Dylan Gambrell, Austin Watson, that's a decent 4th line if that's the way they go. You don't really need Ridley Gregg in the lineup. Ridley Gregg could spend the year not in the National Hockey League, getting further development at the minor league level, which could lead to a greater debut for him, say, a year down the road. It's a good problem to have. This is absolutely a good problem to have for Ottawa. Too much talent for the roster, and you can leave a young guy in the minors as soon as this year. Kastelik, Lodin down the middle are depth guys as well, but they're young. And then you've got Sabarin, who is still there. He is a fill-in, mainly a 13th forward type. Howrlick, who's been brought back, he's a depth guy as well. And Boucher. Boucher, another high draft pick, right? A highly thought of prospect. They don't need him to play this year. It is a really nice situation to be in if you're the Ottawa Senators. You can roll with those 4 lines and whatever combinations you want. You don't need Gregg in the lineup yet. So you can save him until somebody in the top 6 gets hurt. Because that's something else that I try to talk about too. With young players who are skilled young players, you're kind of better off waiting until a top 6 role opens up, only because not every young player suits a bottom 6 role in the National Hockey League level. In some cases, it may hurt their development because they're being asked to do things that they normally wouldn't and may throw off their game. So Yeah, again, I think they're in a great position. They've got prospects that they don't have to put in the lineup. Then on the blue line, I think it's better than it might look on the surface, where you've got Shabbat, Hamnick, Brandstrom, Zub listed as likely the top four. Now, that top four, not set in stone, obviously. You've got Jake Sanderson, who's going to be trying to get into that top four. You got Lassie Thompson, who's going to be looking for minutes. Zaitsev, I think, is better than some people may think. His contract may not be fantastic, but I think he's better than some may think. Nick Holden, I like too as well in that top six. You've got Hetherington, Bernard Docker, who of course came up, looked okay when he came up last year too. And they've added Larson, who is still, age 25. He's still young enough. He could turn into a top six defenseman, sure. So the blue line depth is good. And again, do they have the experience necessary? Zaitsev has experience, Holden, Hamonic. But again, do they need another veteran defenseman? Maybe. Is it key right now? I don't think so. Going back to video I did on Vancouver not too long ago, I think it's easy to tear apart the what the defense core is going to be for the Ottawa Senators. But you need to see, if you see the big picture, you see that Sanderson's going to be a top four. And Brandstrom, the vision is still for Brandstrom to be a top four. Maybe one of them switches to the right side. We'll see what they do. And then, of course, in net, Talbot and Forsberg are your tandem, and Sogard is biding his time in the minors, and he's going to end up being the next guy, unless Mandolese is the next guy, right? So it's an embarrassment of riches for the Ottawa Senators. This is what happens when you trade for draft picks, you trade for futures. And then, and this is what I was talking about, you add Giroux, you add DeBrincat. This is the part that I talked about with Ottawa for a long time. You can go out and get all the prospects you want in the world. You have to be able to also add veteran players, add guys who've been there before, guys who've been around the league for at least 3 or more years, and round out around your young guys, those players, as kind of a cushion. Those are the guys that in the locker room can say, hey guys, we're down 2 after 2 periods, but we're still in this. You can focus the guys. And so I like the mix that Ottawa's built. I think this is going to be decent. And then the loaned or unsigned prospects as well. You've got your Venti, who may end up being a very good player. He looked good at the World Juniors. So did Ostapchuk. Marilainen, of course, was the goaltender of record for Finland until late in that tournament. But again, people may point to Marilainen's tournament and say, well, Finland by the end of that tournament had gone to the other guys, so maybe Marilainen's not that great. But it's World Juniors, and there have been plenty of instances where goaltenders might look great at the World Juniors, don't end up having a really good NHL career, and vice versa. Goaltenders who look fantastic at the World Juniors, and it just doesn't translate to the National Hockey League. So Marilainen, still a highly thought of prospect. You've still got Sogard, and neither Forsberg nor Talbot are at retirement age or that close to retirement age either. And then you've got Clevin as well, another defenseman who is yet unsigned, and who knows, right? Who knows what'll happen with this blue line if they sign Clevin and add him to the mix of all these other young defensemen. They are really in a position now where they're a team that has a lot of young talent at every position. And now they can also take some of those young players, who of course are on entry-level contracts for the most part, which is like gold in today's NHL with the salary cap being as it is, and they could turn those players into a veteran at the deadline. If Ottawa finds themselves in a playoff spot, and I know how crazy that sounds, but if Ottawa finds themselves in a playoff spot around the trade deadline, I'd be very surprised if they don't decide to add. I'd be very surprised if they don't decide, we might as well add a body or two, a veteran guy or two up front, maybe a veteran on the blue line, get a little bit of depth, and who knows what might happen, right? And there's reason for this. There's good reason for this. Now, Sports Forecaster, they don't have the print edition this year of their annual, but I've been going through the digital download edition. They are so gung-ho on the Ottawa Senators. So reading the article on TSN today, also going through Sports Forecaster and going, wow, there's some real gung-ho predictions here. They have DeBrincat with 94 points. They have Stützle with 90 points. And Senators fans will be over the moon if Stützle hits 90 points. I'm thinking more about 70 for Stützle this year, and for DeBrincat, I'd say 75 points would be an excellent year. But yeah, 94 and 90, why not? Batherson, they have with 79 points. And if he stays healthy, he can hit that. And Giroux, they feel is going to have a bounce back year with 77 points. Which, if Giroux's playing with Norris and Tkachuk, I could see this. But Norris, they have with 67 points. I'm thinking, Norris can get more points than that. So it is interesting because DeBrincat and Stützle, according to, again, cap friendly, they have their depth chart. They have DeBrincat and Stützle as the number 2 line. But I really think that if Ottawa plays this right, they can have two number one lines. Two lines that split that ice time late in the game, that they can just roll between the two. And it's a situation that a lot of contending teams have that is an advantage over other teams, right? Now, their prediction is second in the Atlantic. And again, that's Sports Forecaster. They have them second in the Atlantic. I'm just taking a look here. They also have Vancouver second in the Pacific. So I'm a big fan of Sports Forecaster right now. They have Tampa Bay first in the division. They have Toronto third. Now, I want you guys to think about this for a second. If Sports Forecaster turned out to be the Nostradamus this year and they get everything right, that would mean the Ottawa Senators, number 2 in the division, Toronto number 3, Toronto starting the playoffs on the road in Ottawa for round 1. The good news for Toronto is this. The last time that they got out of the first round was against the Ottawa Senators in 2004. So if they met Ottawa in the first round, maybe that means they have a chance. And traditionally in the playoffs, historically, this franchise has not had a fun time playing against the Toronto Maple Leafs in the playoffs. They have Boston at number 4 and Florida at number 5. Now, I wholeheartedly disagree, but I really do appreciate when when annuals come out and staffs for those annuals have decided, you know what, we're going to take last year's standings, put them in a blender. This is where we think everybody's going to work out where everybody's going to fit. It's entertaining to see when they do this. And yes, they could be spectacularly wrong. Maybe Ottawa's not ready for a playoff spot. But when you look at this team right now, they're not bad. This is not a bad team. One thing that I've noticed is that there's always going to be those blanket comments of, this team's trash. Any team that missed the playoffs last year when I was doing previews, there's always this team's trash. This team's trash. Team sucks. They're trash. And it doesn't matter who they've added. It doesn't matter what they've done. It wouldn't matter if they got like a cloning machine and found some way to use that in a time traveling machine as well. And went, hey, we've got 21-year-old Wayne Gretzky joining our team. Yeah, trash. Gretzky's so passé. It wouldn't matter. So the Ottawa Senators are going to be going out trying to prove people wrong. And what's interesting to me too when I look at Ottawa is the logos. So when I was trying to get a magnet for this video, grabbed this one first and I thought, why don't I just get all 4 of the looks they've had, starting with this look and going all the way to this one. The difference with this one, of course, being that these lines around here are gold. So you'll see on the jersey I'm wearing here, this is their first year jersey. I bought this the first year they were in the NHL. And you can see that it's red around here. They've changed it to gold on the new ones. The logo's a little bigger on the new ones too. And yeah, they went back to the old look, which I again, at the time I didn't think was awesome, but that's just me. And maybe it'll work out. Maybe this year this team gets back into the playoffs and we see what they're made of. But I'd be interested to know your thoughts. You know, which team does, because again, it could be Detroit, it could be Ottawa, and I don't want to rule out Buffalo either. Which team do you think can make that breakthrough this year? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. If you're a Sens fan, how excited are you for this season? Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And yeah, it's kind of an Ottawa Senators hype video. We'll see how it turns out when the games of importance are being played about a week from tomorrow. Or a month from tomorrow. Sorry, I'm jumping the gun a little bit. I wish it was a week from tomorrow. Kind of, sort of, then I wouldn't be able to do the California trip at the end of the month. But hey, you know, there we are. Let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. The channel passed 253,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much, everybody who's subscribed. And I will talk to you again soon.